field remains under caution. We still got 30 laps. The field took the green flag, but was only out for a matter of about 2 seconds before Chris East dumped it in turn number 4. So we're about ready, Steve Evans, for a start with Jack Houtenchild on the pole.
And so far, it's a much cleaner start than the original. It is Jack Houtenchild, the 18 car, leading him into turn number 1, now turn 2. Mark Kinzer just behind him, and Steve Kinzer in the 3rd spot. Steve Kinzer takes the 2nd spot.
As Houtenchild goes down into turn 1, there is Sammy Swindell in the black number 1, going by Andy Hillenberg in the black 2. The 44 car of Robbie Stanley. He is now moving past Stanley into the 13th spot. So Swindell is charging, Steve Evans.
And next on his hit list is that red 11X car, Tommy Estes Jr. from Oklahoma. Swindell going to take him on the high side. Yes, that puts him in the 13th spot. Next in front of him is 57 Danny Smith.
There's your leader, Jack Houtenchild, but Steve Kinzer has got him in his crosshairs. Kinzer is broken free and moving in on Houtenchild. There's your race for 8th. Jimmy Sills in the 4 car, the 40 car of Doug Wolfgang, and ahead of them is the 10 car of Jeff Swindell. And look at that wheel stand that Wolfgang pulled coming off of turn 4.
Boy, with these short wheelbase cars, if they get hooked up like that, they can literally become airborne. Wolfgang, he is going to ride the rim, Brock. This is going to be one exciting man to watch.
It is, and there is Jeff Swindell up there on top as well. So Swindell and Wolfgang have found a high groove to work for them. Although Jeff dives low through turn number 1 and 2, but the Wolf up on top and sailing now.
And I'll tell you, Jack Houtenchild, the leader, just now crossing the start-finish line. He's been standing up like that as well, even more dramatically than Wolfgang. There is Kinzer in the 2nd spot, and that is Mark Kinzer just behind his cousin Steve. And he's putting the pressure on. Believe me, the Kinzers, there's no family loyalty when it comes to this kind of racing.
Well, I'll tell you what, Steve, Houtenchild's hooked up because the master, Steve Kinzer, can't seem to get a whole lot on him. He's moved in a little bit, but, oh, just as I said that, Kinzer takes an awful charge off of turn number 2 and moves in on Houtenchild. Houtenchild down low, a spin. Mark Kinzer keeps it going. Hammered down, does a full 360. What a piece of work. I'll tell you what, stick yourself in a 1,400-pound automobile with 700 horsepower and try that on slick dirt sometime.
Boy, that was just spectacular. Here is Steve Kinzer running in that 2nd position. Houtenchild up in front of it, but for how long? Houtenchild, Brock, reminds me of a younger Sammy Swindell. He doesn't quite have the smoothness that Sammy has with maturity, but does he ever have the courage to try anything necessary in the racetrack? And look at Kinzer going high, trying to get that driving wheel in the soft dirt. You saw a little smoke come off it when it hit the blue groove.
So here's your race for 4th. That is the red 56 car, Kenny Jacobs, and right behind him, Mark Kinzer, who's still in it, even though he did that terrific spin in turn 4. Right now, though, Jacobs seems to have the measure of Kinzer. Here are your leaders, and slowly Steve Kinzer almost inevitably moves in on Houtenchild and takes the lead coming off turn 2.
He didn't even say, excuse me. Just put his car where there appeared to not be enough room to do it and executed a magnificent Steve Kinzer-style pass with the lead. And look at the distance already he has put between himself and Houtenchild.
All right, there's your race for 4th again, and Mark Kinzer moves by Kenny Jacobs. Kinzer continues to charge back from that little bobble he had. And here comes Jacob now trying the low side. Mark Kinzer up on top. Always good to watch these two different lines and dirt track racing. One of the most spectacular sights in all of motorsports.
Brock, we've got a caution flag out, and you just saw the reason for it there. The number 61 car, that is Mike Ward. He has spun in turn number 2, and Mike is darn glad to see that yellow cloth waving in the breeze. That is not a real safe place to be. And, you know, for all of you out there saying, boy, I'd sure like to see that spin in slow motion from Mark Kinzer, we just happened to have it. That was just a spectacular piece of driving. Let's take a look, Brock.
Well, here he is riding in third place behind his cousin and Jack Houdenchild there in that 6R, and he just gets it too hot in turn number 4. Comes down, you see the rear wheel still spinning. He's got the power on and just kind of turns the wheel around. At the last minute, turns the wheels from trying to correct the slide, cranks them over to the left, and underway again. Looks easy, but I'll guarantee you, 9 times out of 10, an inexperienced driver would put it right in the fence when it happens like that. Brilliant drive by young Mark Kinzer, who is showing the colors of the Kinzer family in proud style, believe me. I don't know what it is in the genes of that family, but, man, every one of them can hook up in a sprint car. It's unbelievable, Steve.
And if one doesn't get you, the other one will. If it's not Steve, it might be Mark or another cousin Kelly or Sheldon. I mean, there's just a six-pack of them out there running around.
Some of them could build engines like Carl in race cars. They're unbelievable. All right, a restart, and there is Bobby Davis Jr. trying to get underneath Jack Houdenchild. Houdenchild got way high in turn 4 and almost lost that second position as Bobby Davis Jr. in that red 6 now challenges and blasts by Houdenchild down the back straightaway. So Houdenchild getting high in turns 3 and 4. He pays the price. He lost just enough momentum so that Bobby Davis Jr. caught him and passed him half a lap later. So it shows you how critical and how evenly matched these race cars are.
Number 56, Kenny Jacobs, may have some problems. He's been kind of falling back. 57, Danny Smith has been moving up. Well, Wolfgang is still riding the wild side, and there he moves into the 4th position as he gets by number 56, Kenny Jacobs.
So the Wolf on the prowl here. He is now moving out toward Houdenchild, who sits up there in the 3rd spot. He's got an open racetrack for a little bit, so that should help the Wolf as he rides the high groove all the way around 3 and 4. There is Bobby Davis Jr. and Houdenchild still fighting it out for that 2nd spot, but Davis seems to have moved away a little bit. There is Sammy Swindell. We haven't heard much from him, but he is now moving in on Mark Kinzer, who has apparently slowed down a little bit. There's Swindell. Down low. Way on the bottom, trying to get underneath Mark Kinzer. This is the race for 6th place. And look at this. Mark Kinzer drives down into the infield. He's obviously had problems. Going to park that car after a terrific drive. Unfortunate, but opens the way for Sammy Swindell.
All right, and possibly opening the way for Houdenchild and Bobby Davis Jr. is the traffic that Steve Kinzer is going to face. He is starting to lap cars. You see the 3 car there of Joe Garrity. Now, this is when race car driving becomes a serious business, when you've got to pick off these lap cars, not allow them to hold you up, and they're all running for position too, and you can't expect them all to just move by and wave you over.
All right, here's your race for 7th. That is Jeff Swindell, and on the outside, Kenny Jacobson. We've got Andy Hillenberg in the black 2, all going at it there for the 7th spot. As we watch the white flag come out, one more lap for Steve Kinzer in the 11 car. There is Jacobs and Swindell still going at it, still fighting it out for that 7th spot. They've got one more lap left as Swindell dives underneath Jacobs. Here comes the winner. Checkered flag out for Steve Kinzer.
Even an engine change between the Fram Dash and the A-Feature just doesn't slow that team down. Carl and the crew do their work, and when it comes time to get in the race car, is there anybody better than Steve Kinzer? I don't think so. What a job he did today. We'll be back to talk to Steve and some of the other top finishers after this.
Let's have one final look at this Oklahoma Showdown results. 30 laps. Steve Kinzer, Bobby Davis Jr. second. Jack Houdenchild, Doug Wolfgang, and Danny Smith round out the top 5. Sammy Swindell, Andy Hillenberg, Jeff Swindell, Kenny Jacobs, Jack Hewitt in the 10th spot. Of course, the man of the hour is Steve Kinzer.
Well, the king of the outlaws has another notch in his gun, and he's breathing a little hard here. Steve Kinzer, congratulations.
Well, thank you. It was looking sort of bad. We went out there to run that dash and blew a motor, and I shut it off so quick and had a vibration, and I didn't know whether it was the motor or the drive line. So I was pretty sure it was a motor, so we got the motor in real quick. It probably didn't take us 20 minutes, and went out there, and but lucky we didn't get a chance to mess with the car race, so I guess we had it about right, so it went around real well.
You know, you always share these victories with the entire team, but today is special. They really did a job with the wrenches.
Well, anytime you can get a motor in out in 20 minutes and get your car ready to run and you win a race, your crew did a real well of a job, so I just want to thank Carl Kinzer, Paul Elrod, and Scott Gherkin. Those three guys do a super job all the time.
Indeed they do. Congratulations again, a tremendous show.
All right, thank you. I just also want to thank Gambler Chassis and Coors Light for supporting our racing.
Okay, Steve Kinzer, he won the feature today. Let's go to Brock Yates with second place.
Well, thanks, Steve. I'm in Bobby Davis Jr., who ran a good stout second after a pretty good race between you and Haudenschau, and then Mark Kinzer was in there for a while and some restarts and whatever, but I guess the tire choice worked out okay.
Well, we feel like the car was good, and we went with the soft tire, where Steve went with the harder compound. They might have had their car a little different than what we did, but we feel like we did all right.
You sure did. The racetrack turned out basically the way I expected it to be?
Yeah, I kind of felt like it was going to be slick all day, and it still seems like it's still slippery, so that's kind of what we was shooting for.
Well, it worked out good for you. Congratulations. Great second.
Thank you.
Okay. Steve?
Well, Jack, after that performance, I can only say one thing. Have you thought of wheelie bars for the back of the 18 car? Incredible.
Yeah, the car, I couldn't believe it. It just, getting real hooked up in the middle of the straightaway, and it did a wheelie, and I don't know. We left her back down and kept on going. The car was just hooked up tight, and you just can't race them there, so you got to let them back down.
Let me ask you, is that frightening or kind of semi-fun?
Oh, no, it's kind of fun, really,
We have a strange way of having fun, my friend.
Well, I wish we could have did a little better. Bobby and Steve, they're all fast tonight, and I was just glad to run third.
Well, thanks to you and all of the Outlaws for one of the best races we've had the privilege of covering. It was terrific.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, Brock, that seems to be it for the Oklahoma Showdown.
But we've got more outlaw racing coming at you later in the year. For Steve Evans, I'm Brock Yates from Tulsa, Oklahoma.
The executive producer for American Sports Cavalcade is Harvey M. Palish. Produced and directed by John B. Mullen. Promotional consideration provided for and a fee paid by the Style Auto World Championship Team, the nation's premier source of fast lane fashions. Style Auto, the champion's choice for the style of your life. The American Sports Cavalcade is a presentation of Diamond B Sports.